process where he has changed clothes several times, and you might think that he is a friend, he is a person who was brought from Venezuela, but I will tell you what this is and why this language. Within intelligence, there is all this, which is becoming friends with the person who is possibly going to talk. You have to bring them clothes, pizza, coffee, and become friends and make them feel comfortable. That is why what we are seeing from Nicolás Maduro is an impressive kindness.
2 plus C is 4. This is empathy.
At this point, you also see how they approach him.
Later, precision missiles hit strategic points, radars, communications, and airstrips. It is not a massive attack, it is a surgical one. At 3:05 in the morning, military helicopters appear flying low, using the darkness to avoid detection. At the same time, special forces move by land toward a complex that had been previously guarded for months. The objective is only one, to capture the president alive. At 3:27 in the morning, the perimeter is secure, Nanny. There is no prolonged confrontation. The operation lasts less than 20 minutes. Maduro is located, subdued, and escorted out of the area.
100 media outlets are censored and shut down. 90% of the population lives in poverty. 50% of the population lives in extreme poverty. 3 presidential elections with no official or international recognition. The minimum
This is the top part here, the glass. There's no glass in this. I'm picking this up here. There's no glass over there. This, here comes only glass and there is no glass. Look at that hole over there. Look at this thing. How crazy.
I don't want to buy anything. I bought myself a house in Kakumare. I want to buy a house. I want to buy a house in Kataka. I want to think about where in Ocumare de la Costa I'm gonna buy my house. In Chironi, I'm gonna buy a house. That's what I want to think about right now, not about a microwave or a refrigerator for Seisha Pro Max.
Kilometers. The United States obviously can't fly over any... I mean, those anti-aircraft systems are pretty good. That's Russian.
We are the custodians of the documents that represent the majority will of the people of Venezuela. My government does not recognize Delcy Rodriguez under any pretext. That is exactly what was going to happen in Panama. I was on the front lines of that fight against Noriega, and it wasn't just about getting rid of Noriega, but about leaving a Norieguismo without Noriega. Well, here they're leaving a Maduro regime without Maduro. Delcy Rodriguez is one of the people most committed to that nefarious dictatorship, and with what moral authority can she come to lead a transition to democracy? General Adamaisi. Imagine that.
After what happened last night, Playdito?
Experience last night, we don't know what's gonna happen, but the truth is that the streets of Caracas today are filled with loneliness and uncertainty.
Little brother, don't you have you got all those green ghosts for PlayStation 4? I only have it on Xbox 360.
No, not for PlayStation 4. Maybe for PlayStation 5.
Yes?
Let's look for it here.
What's...
Because this is for the 360, right?
Yes, you know I saw it. I liked it.
I asked Santiago?
Maybe this game?
Can I get there? But on the Play 4, it's on the Xbox 36.
Oh.
Look at the crate. Wikiri. Sure. Americans are out at 8:30 in the morning.
The arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and his wife. Well, world leaders are not happy about it, dude.
They're not happy.
Nope, they're griping.
Did it? Yeah.
Yep. They're deeply alarmed. Leaders from Russia, Iran, China, and Colombia among the nations lining up Saturday to demand the Trump administration release Maduro and First Lady Sila Flores.
Let me ask this in terms of Middle Eastern demands. What's your batting average? You know, like Iran demands this and demands that, and everyone goes, oh, fuck you. But by the way, circling back to the no more defund the police and community policing and safe injections, I just fucking force. Consequence. You can talk to Iran for 30 years about their nuclear program and sanctions and beg them to stop and have inspectors, or you can take a couple of bunker buster fucking Moabs and drop it up their ass and blow their fucking enrichment plants up, and then you can turn the page and move on.
Correct.
Or you can talk about it for another 30.
Confirmed reports about Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro and his spouse being in the United States, we strongly urge the U.S. leadership to reconsider their position and release the legitimately elected president of a sovereign country and his spouse. Meanwhile, in Venezuela, they're parading through the streets, celebrating. They're so happy.
Now, the Democrats are great, too, with this stuff, because it's all in. You know what I was thinking about the other day? As I was, like, going on my third avocado in a day and a half, I thought, remember when the Democrats were explaining we weren't going to have avocados?
That's right.
What happened to avocados?
Yeah.
What happened? Remember when if
of the dead children are because of Doge. Where are all the dead children?
That's what I was yelling about.
They're going to be what?
Beginning.
There were 50,000, 100,000 dead kids.
They're in mass graves somewhere, Dawson.
In avocado news, just real quick, I planted an avocado tree in my house. Two avocado trees in 2018. I got my first avocado over the weekend. One.
Nice.
And it's big. It's bigger than my fist. It's a big avocado.
Chuck Schumer will give you $1,200 for it. Because Chuck told me we're not.
We're going to get into simply because it's from NPR. And I'm just going to read the headline, and then we will dissect the audio from the interview and the story itself. But here's the headline. Right-wing influencers' fraud claims leads to threats for Somali daycare owners.
Yeah, the thing, so here's an interesting thing. So no one cares about NPR.
doesn't seem like, with his tampons, like he wants to spend any time in jail. You don't know if Timmy is singing like a bird. You don't know if these Somalians are like, we're going to.
He's not your average kid.
I will change my destiny!
Big NFC East matchup.
What kind of comedy show did you think you were seeing tonight?
I'm Venezuelan, and let me tell you something. This is the happiest day of my life. They have massacred us, intimidated us, humiliated us. And today we finally recover hope. It's been 25 years of dictatorship. How can you defend that? They have forced more than 8 million Venezuelans to flee the country, including me. And I'm not going to let anyone to tell me that this is not good for us. This is the best thing that could happen to Venezuela. This is what all Venezuelans want.
It's 4:30 in the morning. Let's go wake up my husband and tell him that Nicolás Maduro was captured by the United States. Joel.
Tío.
Capturaron a Nicolás Maduro.
¿Eh?
Capturaron a Nicolás Maduro.
Mentira.
No.
Eso es jodiendo, no capturaron nada. Mentira.
Joel, ¿qué hago yo levantándote a las 5 de la mañana diciéndote esto?
Eso es mentira. Sufran, coño, que sufran. Celebrar, coño, celebrar la libertad, coño, la libertad. Gracias a Estados Unidos. Dios mío, qué notición, qué noticia. Mira aquí.
Te dije.
Ahora vienen los cabrones estos, ahora que vengan estos ahora, están cagados. Cagados están.
Cuba, que es un acto criminal.
Acto criminal es lo que tienen con ellos, lo tenían con los venezolanos. Eso es un acto criminal. Es un día emocionante, en muchos sentidos.
Maduro, we love dictators. Do not for a moment let your hatred and disdain for Donald Trump, an unsavory character, have you defending the dictator of my country that was destroyed by him and Chavez and their system 20 years ago. We Venezuelans are very, very happy that our dictator has been arrested, removed, and will be put through a trial. It's the first time we're seeing justice in 26 years. Now let's hope that they get the rest of the criminals out of Venezuela, and then we can return home.
por fin va a conocer Maracaibo después de tantos años.
¿Qué quiere conocer?
Era su anhelo.
¿Qué quiere conocer?
A esto, miren. A Venezuela, quería conocer a Venezuela, nació en España, pero quería conocer a nuestra Venezuela, esa Venezuela bonita. Mis hijos vuelven nuevamente a su país. Gracias Dios por tus maravillas, gracias por tu milagro, gracias por ser bueno con nosotros, hermanos venezolanos. Espero que hayamos aprendido la lección, que seamos más humildes, que seamos más personas, que seamos más hermanos. Dios es grande y maravilloso. Volveremos.
¿Cuántos venezolanos vamos a querer volver otra vez?
Venezuela es grande y va a resucitar entre las cenizas porque así Dios lo decretó. En ese momento más difícil, que Dios lo bendiga a todas las nacionalidades que nos abrieron sus puertas. Gracias.
Señores, Maduro y su esposa han sido capturados. Nicolás Maduro y Sidita fueron capturados. Señores, Maduro, se va a capturar a Maduro, viejo.
Mami, buenos días. Capturaron a Maduro.
Hola, mi amor.
Mentira.
Amor, sácalo de Maduro.
Mentira.
Sí,
Ay,
amor.
bendito sea el Señor. Ay, Dios mío, gracias. Gracias, Dios mío, gracias.
Nelson. Nelson. Capturaron a Maduro. Capturaron a Maduro.
¿Es verdad?
Ya.
El diablo, espérate, me van a matar.
No te lo puedo creer, esto es increíble.
No lo puedo creer. Dios mío, gracias.
Ay.
Gracias.
I did not vote for Trump. Not that I was excited to vote for Kamala, but I did. But what I have done is facilitate food, medicine, basic essentials for children in Venezuela for over 10 years. I have developed close relationships with families there, with mothers there who have watched their children die because you cannot imagine the conditions in Venezuela. You cannot imagine parents unable to get the basic essentials for their children. I've spoke to families, to mothers who watch their children die on the floors of their home. You cannot imagine. I've been posting about Maduro and the state of Venezuela for a very long time. Venezuela today, this is a good thing. This is a good thing.
If you are not from Venezuela, you better shut the fuck up. I've seen a lot of videos of gringos trying to explain Venezuela to Venezuelans. You don't even know the difference between Venezuela and Mexico. You can't even point Venezuela in a fucking map. You don't know what is to live in starvation. You never saw a family member dying because you didn't have the medication, while the members of the Chavismo are walking with Rolex in their hands. Do you want to know how many people died trying to come to America, going through a jungle? Do you want to know how many women were raped there? We are 8 millions of Venezuelans who have left Venezuela. You don't know what is to live like that. You are too freaking busy eating your Starbucks with almond milk, you motherfucker. I have a question for you guys. Where were you when they were killing us? Where were you when they were killing students? Students who didn't have any weapon. You were too freaking busy drinking your Starbucks with oat milk. So you better shut the fuck up and take Venezuela out of your filthy mouth.
To all my American friends, today Venezuelans woke up to the best news we've received in decades. I confess that this morning I couldn't fully understand my own feelings as I read the news. Seeing bombs and explosions in my country was something I never imagined I would witness, and it was hard to believe. But it was real. The United States was military entering our capital, Caracas, and capturing the tyrant Nicolás Maduro. I want to thank you on behalf of my family and the Venezuelan people, because it was your President Donald Trump, your government, and your country that made possible what we couldn't, capturing the dictator Maduro and bringing him to justice. For many years we tried, truly, we tried, but we always knew that without the military help of a larger and more powerful force, we would never succeed. Elections in our country were always a circus, a show, but the greatest country in the world decided to act and carried out what might be the most decisive military operation of our lifetimes. Nicolás Maduro is now in the hands of justice, and the United States will run our country until a trustworthy transition takes place. I gotta be honest with you, I never thought Venezuela would become the 51st state before Puerto Rico, Canada, and Greenland. 2025 was difficult for us, especially for those living in the US. The narrative about Venezuela was that we are a narco state that sent criminals and mentally ill people to America. 2026 begins completely differently, and I couldn't feel more at peace or more grateful. God bless America and free Venezuela from socialism. Thank you so much, and thank you, Mr. President Donald Trump.
characterize him as quietly, maybe solemnly defiant. At one point, he made a statement about the fact that he is not only innocent, but still the president of his country. The takeaway, I think, in a larger sense, is that everybody, that is he, and characterize him as quietly, maybe solemnly defiant. At one point, he made a statement about the fact that he is not only innocent, but still the president of his country. The takeaway, I think, in a larger sense, is that everybody, that is he and his wife, plead not guilty to all counts. But as you say, his attorney, a man named Pollock, did at one point stand up, and when they were talking about scheduling motion practice, did say we expect a voluminous and complicated process here. And so at least until March 17th, Maduro waives his right to speedy trial, meaning essentially the clock stops, and they're all going to be setting up and working out a schedule to start exchanging what is apparently a lot of stuff.
Could you see them both, he and his wife? I mean, did they look, in your estimation, and you know, things are being described to us, and we're trying to convey that to the audience. Maduro stood up at the end, shuffled papers, and then took them with him, so he won the battle of whether or not he could keep his notes. And he has on tan trousers, orange sneakers. She was described with kind of a weak, thin voice, somebody small. Out of the courthouse right now, so we want to keep our eyes on the screen. That center car, that kind of army green.
In court,
Paul,
in fact,
I'm going to jump in here because we are
that.
seeing tactical vehicles pull into the screen, and we can't speak to exactly who is in each one of these vehicles, but we do know that Maduro arrived by helicopter. There is a motorcade that's pulling out of the courthouse right now, so we want to keep our eyes on the screen. That center car, that kind of army green colored tactical vehicle in the middle, we would think that that would maybe house a potential perpetrator, prisoner at this point. Again, there's no way to see into these vehicles, but because of the formation that they're making, this was similar to the one when they arrived at the courthouse. So we won't make an assumption, but we'll make an educated guess that that's what we're looking at right now. And the timing of this coordinates with what I'm reading now from our team on the ground. He was just led out of the courtroom after the arraignment, and a man sitting in the public section said something to Maduro. Maduro responded in Spanish. And our producer on the ground says, I'm told by reporters who speak Spanish that the man said that in the name of the people of Venezuela, Maduro will pay. Maduro then said, quote, I am a kidnapped president. I am a prisoner of war. And now you see what I was talking about, the people on the ground kind of confirming with their cameras of what we're seeing. And that is at least Maduro, perhaps Celia Flores as well, being taken out of this courthouse scene, the Manhattan Federal Court, Southern District of New York, leaving to take him back into custody now.